What's going on, you bunch of heretics? Welcome to Heresy is My Therapy. Today we have got the Emperor's Children that's going to be undergoing the slap chop / speed painting treatment today. Model in use will be the beautiful and stunning Lord Exultant, a model that I just think it looks great. It's got the cool spear and that chain like lash to whip his subjects into the battlefield. So yes, a really stunning sculpt that I've been looking forward to. So today, obviously, I'm going to be going through the paints that you'll need. In the description below will be the Army Speed Paint and the Citadel equivalent, or thereabouts. Some will only have, so Techlon Turquoise is making a reappearance today in the video, but unfortunately I couldn't find an Army Painter equivalent. So there will be some that won't have the equivalent, but otherwise you'll have the Army Painter Speed Paint range and the contrast paint from Citadel as well in the description below. Of course, with always things, if you're after new miniatures, new models, new paint supplies, click in the link tree below and there is a plethora of links to different affiliates that I'm super proud to be working with, that I've got discount codes for you, and of course a whole range of stock with deals waiting for you to get your hands on. Anyway, enough with the intro, I'm rambling on. Let's get some paint on some miniatures and yeah, let's get to it. Right, okay, let's get into it. So as always with this, the model is going to be prepped and primed with my absolute favorite spray. That is of course Colourforge Matte Black. Okay, Colourforge Matte Black is the spray of choice for basing this miniature today. Make sure you give it a really good undercoat, get absolutely everywhere of it. It's really important that we prep our miniature right. Obviously when you're building it, don't forget to clean it all up, take off all the mold lines, something I know I am guilty very much of not doing. But yes, that's what we're going to be doing. As always, our very first step is going to be our dry brush. We're going to be using our Ash Grey or Administratum Grey. Ash Grey or Administratum Grey. And as always, we're going to be using a bit of kitchen roll. Really important, kitchen roll is really good. So when we're putting all of the paint on the brush, take it off with the kitchen roll. I wouldn't use anything else, just a good bit of kitchen roll. In fact, that's what I've got here. A good bit of kitchen roll is really good to get it off. It doesn't leave the kind of like fine grain that maybe tissue might do. And all we're going to be doing is small circles into the model, okay? Small circles, and with the Ash Grey, we're getting absolutely everywhere. If you have got a texture palette, just give it a quick brush over on the texture palette first, and then slowly build it with its small circles all over the miniature to get this slap chop base that we're going to be doing. Okay, so small circles all over the miniature. All right, once we've done that, we're then going to get a fresh clean brush that you've got. I always keep a spare sort of like a medium or large dry brush, Citadel, just an old one that's perfectly clean, that's got no paint on it, and all I'm doing is just getting rid of that excess dust that we sometimes find has been left on the model. Once we've done that, we're going to move on to our matte white or Corax white, or even a Vallejo white. Any sort of white that's got a nice vibrancy to it is what we're going to use. And all we're going to do is going to position the model where the light would be shining down, and we're just going to do small circles down the model so that it just reflects where the light would be, okay? Unlike the grey where we've gone absolutely everywhere, the white is just going to be all the tops where the light would be shining down onto it, okay? Really important that we get that part. And again, it's small circles all over the miniature, okay, but it's literally where the light would be shining down. That's where we're going to be doing it. Hopefully you're seeing this in the video now. And again, once again we've done that, we're just going to get our clean dry brush and we're just going to take off all of that excess dusty paint. All right, because what we don't want is that paint left behind, because it will show up when we put that contrast paint over the miniature. Okay, so moving on now to the actual application of our contrast or speed paints. Throughout this, it will always be, as far as you're concerned, unless I state otherwise, it will be a 1-to-1 mix of either contrast or speed paint medium, speed paint or contrast paint to a speed paint medium or a Lamian medium, okay? Reason why I like the Army Painter ones is because you've got the drops and you can do 1 drop to 1 drop, okay? So if you're using Army Painter speed paints, it's 1 drop to 1 drop, unless I say otherwise. If we're coming into a wash, we're looking at 2 or 3 drops of medium, versus the contrast paint itself. Okay. Again, like I say, we just want to make sure that we don't let the paint pool, and we're always moving the paint around, because sometimes with the contrast or speed paint, if you're doing like a flat panel, for example, and you leave it on, sometimes you'll get a fine line down one of the sides, and it's a bit of a nightmare to get rid of. Okay, so we're just going to make sure that we move the paint around, okay, that don't let it pool, and we just, like I say, we keep a nice smooth sort of thing. Throughout this, again, I'm using a small, either a small medium, so obviously I've got the Techlon Tiger range, and it's the Techlon Tiger either at a 1 or a 2, small layer brush or a medium layer brush. Generally a small layer brush is always good to go, because it's going to be nice and simple to apply on. But again, whatever brush you're comfortable with, but you want a small layer or a medium layer will be absolutely fine for this. Right, so first of all, we're going to get the main armor done, okay? And it's going to be, again, 2 thin coats of all of this sort of stuff that we're going to be going on. So first of all, I've got Moody Mauve. Okay, Moody Mauve is a really nice color. And again, all we're going to do 1-to-1, as we said before. Again, the Citadel equivalent will be in the description below. So Moody Mauve, and again, all we're doing is just on all of the areas that we want purple. We are giving this one a bit of a Horus Heresy Legion theme, so that classic regal purple with the gold and silver. That's what we're going to be going for today. I should have probably said that in the introduction, really, shouldn't I? But yeah, so Moody Mauve is what we're going to do first. 2 thin coats of this, and we're going to get on all the areas that we want to have our armor on. Moving on next, we're going to be using Purple Swarm. It's a bit of a deeper and richer purple, and again, 1-to-1, yeah, of the contrast, obviously of the medium and the paint. And again, we're just going to apply 2 thin coats over the model just to really give it that nice deep purple saturation. So all the parts that we've put the Moody Mauve on, we're now going to apply the Purple Swarm over those areas now. Next part we're going to move on is the cloth. Okay, so the cape, the cloth, and this plume that he's got on there, and we're going to be creating a bit of a dark, a bit of a black. But the Terry on Turquoise is going to come at the end of the video, okay, at the end of the video. So first of all, we're going to apply burnt moss, okay, burnt moss on those areas first of all. It just kind of like breaks up the white a little bit and just sets up the black and the grey really, really nicely. Again, a 1-to-1 ratio, and again, this is 2 thin coats of this, all Duncan Road style, easy as that, all right? Once we've done this, we're going to use Oculus Cloak or Black Templar. So Oculus Cloak, Black Templar, they're like a lighter, not a grey, but they're like a lighter black. Okay, it's almost got like a different sort of tone to it, which is quite nice. So again, 2 thin coats of this, just all over those areas that we've just applied the burnt moss to. Again, move the paint around, make sure that it doesn't pool in those areas. Okay, move the paint around. And then finally, okay, we're going to do a bit more of a wash with this. Okay, so this is going to be Black Legion or Grim Black. This is a really saturated black. So if you go straight from the pot with this, it's going to really just take away all of that work you've done with those undercolors first of all. Okay, so make sure that we go at 2 parts, so 2 drops of contrast medium or speed paint medium, and then 1 part paint. Okay, so a bit of a 2-to-1 mix. And again, just build it up and build it up. Okay, so 2 layers, again, 2 thin coats, and if you want to go darker, add a 3rd one if you really want to. Okay, this is usually the sort of time now when I would put my sort of initial basing on, so Astro Granite or Sterling Mud or whatever you want to put on. So really for me, I'm just putting a bit of Astro Granite on. It's just while everything's kind of drying above, and I can just use and it just allows the Astro Granite to kind of dry while I'm painting everything else. Okay, easy. So things like the holster, the weapon handle, we're going to add a wash of Slaughter Red, okay, to it. So first of all, okay, we're going to do, so for the holster, so the holster area, because it's quite a nice red that's got in there. It's at the back. It's a bit of an awkward place to get to, but we'll be fine. Okay, we're going to go with, so we're not just going to put red on straight away because it'll give us a pink hue. We want a nice deep red saturated tone. So we're going to put Nuclear Sunrise or Magma Drop Flame, whichever one you prefer. Again, 2 thin coats, 1-to-1 ratio as always, and again move that paint around. I'm just going to put that on the weapon, and then on the weapon handle, the sort of spire of his spear, we're just going to place that that same thing over that as well. Once we've done that, we're then going to add Slaughter Red. Slaughter Red, again, 1-to-1 mix, just over the same area. So over the weapon holster, over the spear handle as well. And again, this is a 1-to-1 mix. If you haven't got Slaughter Red, Blood Angels Red, the contrast equivalent, is really, really good. That'll do just as good a job for that. So next, we're going to do the skin cover. So the skin cover that's on his patch or over his right shin, that's going to be, again, we're going to do 2 thin coats of the following. We're going to go Peachy Flesh, which will probably something like Dark Oath Warrior, I think it is. Again, it'll be in the description below. Again, so we're going to go Peachy Flesh first of all. We're then going to do Fire Drake over the top of that. And then finally, we're going to add a wash. So again, probably we go 2-to-1 or 3-to-1 parts medium and paint. So maybe get a nice thin area. And we're just going to put it over that. So that's Moody Maeve. We're just going to put it. Just gives it a little bit of a purpley hue, and it'll just, you know, it just kind of fits in with the theme of the Emperor's Children. Okay, once we've done that, it's now time to put our Xandri Dust, our burnt tuft dry brush over the model. As I say with this all the time, you know the routine with this technique, guys. We've been doing it long enough now. So all we're going to do is just get paint on our medium. I'd probably get a small dry brush, really, a small dry brush. Make sure that it's not a circular dry brush, it's a thin, almost like the Phillips flathead screwdriver dry brush. That's the one you're going to want. We get some paint on it, so we want either burnt tuft or Xandri Dust. Okay, put the paint on the brush. We take it all off. We just do the little flicker over the thumb because we're artists, right? And then it's a feather dusting over the model. You can go a little bit more intense over the skin area, and you can add the intensity where you really want to. But again, it's just really just to take any of the sort of blotchiness away and add a different kind of highlight. Not just a nice little highlight that just kind of adds a bit of flavor and a bit of ruggedness to the model as well. All right, so again, feather dust. Take literally all of the paint off of the dry brush and just feather it. Okay, I can't stress that enough. It's feather, so light, just feather dust it. Super easy, okay? Next, we're going to move on to our metallics, okay? Our metallics. Again, so we're going to be using, again, I'd probably go 2 layers of this, and we're going to be using the Speed Paint Metallics as our baseline. We'll then apply washes, and then we'll highlight with the silver afterwards. Okay, so basically here we're going to go. So for the gold trim, we're going to go Glittering Loot. Okay, Glittering Loot. It is just a really nice gold that I think kind of complements the purple well and gives it that sort of, you know, that Horus Heresy, Emperor's Children, Legion look to it. Okay. So again, we're going to do two coats of it. You don't need to like add any mediums with the metallics. They're perfectly fine as they are. One thing that I will say with your metallics, make sure you absolutely spend a little bit of time shaking that bottle up, okay? Unlike the contrast paint, you can just give it a little shake and then you're good to go. The metallics require a good sort of 20-30 seconds of a good shake up before you apply it onto the miniature. Okay, so again, 2 coats of the Glittering Loot is what we're going to do. So all around all the gold trim that you want to have the gold on it, that's what we're going to apply. So the Glittering Loot is what we're going to apply first of all. We're then going to add Nuln Oil, okay? Nuln Oil to those areas, okay? Nuln Oil. But again, really thin layer of Nuln Oil, just so it just sits in the crevices really, really nicely, okay? Once we've done that, we're then going to use Shining Silver to dry brush. Oh, sorry, I've skipped ahead a little bit. Yeah, no, that's absolutely right. Shining Silver or Stormhost Silver to dry brush over that gold trim. Okay, so a little bit of, again, what we're using with the Shining Silver, because that's just a normal paint. So I apologize, it's not a contrast paint, it's a normal paint. Again, take it all off, like we did with the Xandri Dust, take it all off. Again, just over your thumb, and then just literally, just ever so lightly dry brush over. Now what you can then do, if you really want to add some more depth into that gold, get your Moody Maeve and again create a wash out of it, and just over the little rivets and in some of the recesses, just add a little bit of purple. It really gives the model a little bit more richness just in there as well. So you can add that in there should you want to. Doing the silver trim, we're going to go with Polished Silver. This is again Speed Paint Metallics, Polished Silver. It's a really nice light silver. Okay, so again, it's in all those areas that you want silver, so like the chains. I get the model here because obviously we're talking through it now. So like the chains, his chain whip, you know, some like the grooves in the side of his grill, the back, his backpack, and again the exhaust ports, and then wherever else you kind of want to add a little bit of silver to, add that shine, add that polished silver into those areas. It looks really nice. And again, we're going to add Nuln oil into those areas. So once that's dried, we then add our Nuln oil into those areas. Okay, so again, just a nice thin area of Nuln oil. If you want to add more, you can do, just to kind of give a bit more saturation. And then finally, again, like we did with the gold, we're going to go shining silver, and then or Stormhost silver is your paint of choice to dry brush silver. But again, like I said, whenever we're doing any of these dry brushes, it is a feather dusting, nice and light, nice and easy. Feather it on, super easy, super easy. So for the, like I say, with the sword blade and the rivets, we're just going to wash with a Moody Mave. So with that sword blade, it is just a real light wash over, and it just gives it like a nice, that nice Slaneshi purpley hue that we've all grown to know and love. All right, so a nice Slaneshi purpley hue over the miniature, over the sword blade, and again just in those rivets on the gold, and again they'll just kind of look nice. One thing I'll also say, when you want to go up with a Nuln oil on those silver areas, as you can see on the silver, on the skin, on those rivets, again, just a little bit of that, tiny little bit of that Nuln oil, and it really just kind of helps break up the skin and the bulbousy parts of his armor work. It makes it look really, you know, just kind of like gives it that sort of breakup. I think it looks really nice. For the eyes, very simple enough. So for the eyes, all it is, Corax white or matte white. Again, small airbrush, pinprick in, and then all you're going to do is use something called Forest Sprite, or a nice green, any sort of green that you quite like. Forest Sprite is what I've gone for, and again, you can go straight from the pot with this one. So again, a bit of squirt on your palette, just thin it out, and then just place it in. It's really simple to do. You know, you don't need to start edge highlighting areas. It just creates a nice little glow around the miniature. And again, for the gems that's on him, all I did for that was use the shining silver, shining silver or your Stormhost silver. Just dabbed it on, and then add again, just use the Forest Sprite just over the top, and it gives it a bit more of a greenish glow. Like, it just breaks up the purple and golds to give it that sort of Slaneshi kind of look. I think it works quite nicely. Then finally, what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our classic, one of my favourite contrast paints, Pterodon Turquoise. And all we're going to do, we're just going to pop a thin coat of Pterodon Turquoise. Again, you know, 1-to-1 mix of Lamia medium or speed paint medium. And again, 1 or 2 thin coats of that just over the cloak, so all around the cloak, on his plume. We're just going to add that in there. Okay, again, just take your time with it. It just gives it just kind of gives that more of that turquoisey hue, that Slaneshi feel. That I think works really nicely. So yes, a bit of a whistle stop tour tutorial. Hopefully we've been able to capture some of those bits and pieces. And if you have got any questions, just pop it in the link below, or of course, get to me on Instagram and I'll get back to you with some bits and pieces. But hopefully you found it useful. Real key points from this video that I want you to take away. Whenever we're using those contrast paints, how I find to get the results that I'm getting, you may do it differently, and you may have seen other content creators do it differently as well, is a 1-to-1 of the contrast or speed paint to a medium, and you can always build it up. Okay, you don't want to oversaturate it, you can just build it up when you want to, and the mistakes are a lot easier to wipe away as well. All right. Yeah, so that was our Lord Exultant, getting the slap chop and speed paint treatment. Hopefully you found this kind of video useful. Hopefully there's a video right now of the end result of the model, and you can see how we've kind of built that all up. And of course, if there's certain segments that you want to go back to, just go over it, and hopefully I'm giving you a decent enough discussion point of how I've painted that part of the miniature. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you found this tutorial useful. If you have, let me know. If there's work on points that you'd like to see, again, please put in the description below. I try and use that feedback to create better videos and better tutorials for you guys. Anyway, that's the Lord Exultant done. Hopefully you found this video useful. Don't forget all the links to plenty of discounts that have from companies that are helping to support this channel. I can't thank them enough. So go over there, check it out, get your stock while it's there, and use those discount codes that are also available to you as well. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.